Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the best Reddit answers being read to you. Enjoy! Which was the movie villain, evil character or monster that made you say FCK the hero, I'm with the bad guy? Shere Khan in the live-action Disney remake. He wants to murder Mowgli because he's afraid Mowgli will burn the jungle down. Mowgli then burns the jungle down. Oh yeah. Never thought of that. That makes it way more interesting. Megamind, though that's kind of the point of the movie. Megamind only becomes likable when he becomes the hero, and he only becomes the hero because he stops a villain that he created because he was bored. Everyone in the movie is pretty messed up. I'm your space dad. You have been blessed with unfathomable power. Unfat you mumble. Unfath, it's without fathom. Hades from Hercules, he's my mood at work sometimes. Fun fact, originally Disney wanted a more Scar-like reading for the Hades character. Slow speaking, ominous, dark and brooding type. Then James Woods shows up, riffs for a bit, gives them the used car salesman version of Hades, and the rest is history. I remember reading somewhere that when James Woods was waiting for his turn to audition he was thinking to himself, what could be the most evil and sleaziest person he could channel for the role? He figured a Hollywood agent/used car salesman would be a good fit for it and ever since has said it's one of the funnest roles he loves to reprise. Magneto in X-Men. I think one of the genius things about the X-Men is that Xavier and Magneto both have the same motives, but their life experiences drive them to completely opposite means to achieve those motives. Both are leaders of an oppressed minority, obvious real-world allegories there, who want to create a world where their people are accepted. Xavier was raised with privilege and as a fully accepted member of society. Therefore he sees working with society and within existing power structures as the best option. Magneto, however, was a Holocaust survivor. He was always raised without privilege on the outside of society. Since the structures of society had never worked for him, he always saw them as an obstacle to achieving acceptance for his people. Neither one of them was wrong. They always worked towards the same end. They just saw the other's methods as counterproductive. Top Gun, Iceman. He's right, Maverick is dangerous. As I've gotten older, the more Maverick looks like a villain. The only villains in Top Gun are those damn commies with their dangerously cool tinted helmet shields. Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz. Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. Nothing about that comment says it should be sung, and yet guess what I did in my head, guess what I did in my head. Read it in Morgan Freeman's voice. Heinz Doofenshmirtz, who crawled through a river of crap and came out clean on the other side. Rumpelstiltskin in the Once Upon a Time TV series. Depending on your viewpoint, his plans failed because 1, in that universe, good guys always win, or 2, suckage of writers. He was smart, tricky, beautifully manipulative, had a solid backstory that justified almost all of his actions, except for a few bits due to reason number 2, and was one of the few who saw through the massive BS built around the show and its characters and could plan around it, only to have his plans fall through at the last minute, usually because of a hand of God last-minute random thing. Again, reason number 2. He should have been able to get everything he wanted and live happily ever after. He certainly worked harder than anyone else in that show. Yeah, it got lazy of the writers to basically keep resetting his character development. Him and Regina got screwed way too much for my liking. Tom from Tom and Jerry. Jerry was a effing anus. So was Bugs Bunny. To an extent, yes, but in his defense, some of the people to whom he was an a-hole, were a-holes to him in the beginning. He was basically their karma, whatever they did to him, he gave back threefold. Wicked Witch of the West. We hate her cause she looks a bit gothy. But Ditzy Dorothy killed her sister and went on to meddle stuff that's none of her business. I'd be annoyed too. Galinda was the villain in that movie. This bumpkin shows up out of nowhere and kills the Voutre sister on accident. The Voutre shows up to reclaim what is her rightful property, but Galinda basically steals her poop and gives it to Dorothy. She then sends on Dorothy on this insane quest under the guise of sending her home, but it is actually in fact, a mission, possibly a suicide mission, to kill the Voutre. Dorothy kills Voutre in her own home, then at the end Galinda is like, oh yay, BTW, you coulda gone home the second I put those shoes on your feet. Loki in the first Thor film. He is a legitimate prince, and his dumb brother got exiled. The throne was rightfully his. He even took initiative and was going to assassinate the leader of a rival nation that already declared war on Asgard. He even did so in a way that didn't endanger his people. Yeah, Loki is a schemer, but Thor was an arrogant mass-murdering psycho in that movie. Just because Thor gets a girlfriend, everything is fine? Bullcrap. Loki is the good guy in that movie up until the point he sends Asgardian military assets into a neutral country in order to assassinate an Asgardian citizen. Thor is only exiled until he learns his lesson, and coincidentally Loki's assassination attempt is what prompts that. Loki never has the legal right to kill Thor, and his attempt to do so is clearly an attempt to circumvent Asgardian royal inheritance law. Squidward. Can you imagine what living next door to those freaks would be like? And then having to work with one of them? SpongeBob and Patrick aren't too bad until after the movie, episode 9 of season 4 tops. SpongeBob and Patrick's characters were horribly mangled by the post-Hillenburg team. As was every character. SpongeBob was initially a bit too eager to please people, and Patrick would lazily try to solve problems by tending to the symptom instead of the cause. Nowadays SpongeBob is dangerously stalkerish and naive and Patrick is dangerously stupid. All of their likable and relatable qualities were flanderized into deformed, twisted shadows of their original selves. The father from the Lego movie, before he becomes good, I don't want my kid messing with my Lego. Keep off, play with the Duplo. In Australia, we have this amazing show called Lego Masters. Season 2 finale was today. It's freaking sweet. Season 1 just finished about a month ago in the US. The judges are ducking terrible. Bring back true host Terry Crews. Roy Batty and Blade Runner. Batty wanted to gain his freedom and lead the other Nexus 6 models to safety. Instead, his dwindling ranks were hunted like rats. Although the Nexus 6 replicants had a pretty bad reputation, Batty never gave any clues that he meant harm to the human race. There may have been blood on his hands, but Batty only went for those directly involved with the replicants or that were pursuing him. At the end of the day, he was just looking for answers from his creator. Can you imagine looking your creator in the eye, and telling him what a poopy job he did? Roy Batty dared. Amon from Legend of Korra. While he wound up having ulterior motives, his original point about the social imbalance between benders and non-benders seemed pretty spot on. That describes all the main villains from Korra. It's probably my biggest gripe with the show. Every villain has some really good motives that aren't really all that evil, just a little fanatically misguided. But they are all revealed to have ulterior motives or are just tremendously evil people. I think Zahir and Kuvira weren't evil. They both truly believed what they were doing was what was best for the world/Earth Kingdom and did it for that, not themselves. Real talk, Captain Hook in the movie Hook, particularly at the end when he tries to get the kid to stay instead of going home with Peter Pan. Like, I get it, dude's a bad guy and he's just trying to steal the kid away when he says, "Remember how your father was never there? Look at all the things I've done for you." I came from a very neglectful home, and in rewatching this movie I remember how I would have wanted to stay with Hook so bad as a kid. In fact, if we didn't know Hook was a villain, he looks like a much better father figure than Peter Pan until that point. Yeah. But Hook is also actively putting on a front for the kids. Like him playing baseball and all that stuff, it's just to get the kids to like him. Say what you want about Pan, but Hook is murderer. And not just any murderer. He's expressly a child killer. Dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. The villain of Jurassic Park isn't the dinosaurs, they're just nature doing what comes natural. The villains are the creators, who put desire for profit and accomplishment above others' safety. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should isn't just a meme, it's the message of the movie. By the way, I used to roll my eyes at the sequels because it was unrealistic that people would put a desire for profit and fun above the safety of other people and of their own family. Recent events have made me change my mind. People would take their children to the park that killed a large percentage of those who go, saying they refuse to live in fear and have a constitutional right. It turns out the cheesy dinosaur movies understood human nature better than I did. Count Dooku. He saw the corruption of the Galactic Senate, where the representation was not equal. He saw the arrogance of the Jedi and how they strayed from the path. He funded a droid army instead of life forms, while the Jedi used child soldiers and clones, which brings up the debate of whether a clone is a person. He was undercut by Palpatine. Had Dooku lived, the Republic would be more just. In part of the extended universe, the true Sith path is not inherently evil. Essentially the Sith are peace through domination, versus the Jedi's path of freedom amidst violence. Both are supposed to practice selflessness. There is significant swaying from the paths on both sides. Everyone in Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. The hero is explicitly a bad guy. You capture, burn, murder, and plunder your way to infamy with a supporting cast of characters that do the same. The antagonist's goals aren't initially clear, but they are dead set against the establishment of Libertalia, the pirate utopia where lawlessness is the law. I mean, every assassin is a bad guy/girl to some degree. They're a top-secret murder cult who takes out anyone in their way. I'd argue in some of the other entries your character is significantly less morally gray. Ezio and Cassandra come to mind, although what is canon in Odyssey confuses me. They were pitted against pretty clear antagonists with goals of conquest and domination. Within the game series you can have a pretty clean assassin considering the de facto antagonists for the series are another secret organization that is instead bent on world domination. What would have been your answer or question? Leave it in the comments below. Slap that like and subscribe button for more, and check out the link in the video description for even more answers. Peace out, and catch you in the next video.